Mark Rogers TV having some fun with some offbeat questions during a bit of a slow time in the college football calendar between National Signing Day and spring practice. We bring in Mike LaValle from Last Word on College Football. So, Mike, one of the questions we've kicked around with a number of bloggers and broadcasters is changes. That's the theme. That's the topic. Changes. And our first question would be concerning the Tennessee football program. What would you change?
Mark, I think if I had to change one thing with the program today, it would probably be maybe a little bit more media access for the members. Butch Jones is notorious for kind of closing practices after the first session. And I think that kind of turns, to be honest with you, I think that kind of turns the local media against him, and which kind of shapes the perceptions of the fan base. As far as the program and how it's run, I'm like every quasi fan. I'm like every fan. I want to see my team win. I still believe in the coaching staff. I believe in the players. So I'm not sure I would change anything with how the program is run. I would just recommend that they open the practice a little bit more to the reporters, the beat reporters, and the journalists. That might help shape things' perception. When I think that the most recent thing I would change, if I could go back and change anything, would be the Lane Kiffin hire. When I look at history, I'll stick it to recent history, and it's not because Lane Kiffin left, and it's not because of the disastrous results of his one season there. It's because Mike Hamilton, the athletic director at the time, had a choice. Tennessee had almost always been a program that brought guys in from the institution, Tennessee guys back, or either promoted from within or brought them back out or brought them back in from the college football landscape, much like Michigan does, much like kind of Ohio State does with Ohio guys. Mike Hamilton with the Lane Kiffin hire, that was really the first time that in the modern era, since Johnny Majors and Phil Fulmer, that the Tennessee had went outside the Tennessee institution and bring in somebody new, somebody fresh. I can't really fault Mike Hamilton for making that decision, but if you go back, I would just kind of change that. If you look at that hire, that moment in Tennessee history, that's kind of really when our decade of mediocrity, as I call it, the decade of mediocrity started. Of course, Kiffin ends up leaving because he had allegiances elsewhere with USC, and then we brought in Dooley after that. So I think if I could go back in recent history and change one thing, it would be Mike Hamilton's decision to hire Lane Kiffin after he fires Philip Fulmer.